New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Welcome to Ministers Talking a weekly program where Rev Briz and Rev Z and their guests chat about current affairs, world events, spiritual principles, and any old they want to talk about. Based on the New Thought philosophy and ancient wisdoms, Ministers Talking shares a visionary perspective of the evolving spiral called spiritual living. Join us each week as we explore the emerging paradigm of life on planet Earth and beyond.
And hello again, dear ones. Reverend Robert over here.
Reverend Z right here.
And we're a couple of ministers talking shit. Happy holidays. It's the 23rd of December. If you're not fully in the swing of the season of light, well, now's the time. Get to it already. And Red Z and I have been having a rousing conversation here in the studio this morning. And we're so excited that you're here to share that with us and to continue the conversation. So please do feel free to leave a comment, join the conversation. We'll do those shout outs as we can. Good morning, Wayne. Glad you're with us, brother. All the way from Calgary. Grateful you're here. And please like, share, and subscribe. Let your friends know what we're doing here as well. Linda Plasters, good morning. Good Christmas Eve day. Yes. Good to see you as well. So, okay, folks, if you haven't heard the word of the day, the word of the week is cold, especially if you're in North America. Holy cold. Z, I trust you've been able to keep yourself a little warm the last few days.
Yeah, a little warm. I got a little cold or something, man, and it's got me hacking and everything, but I'm safe and sound and drinking plenty of fluid. So I that's my advice to everybody: hydrate. You always have to hydrate in the mountains, but now you got to extra hydrate.
Yes, and as I've been told, wine does not count as hydration. So I think it's got to actually be water. So, yes, cold across the country, snowstorms, a major blizzard across North America. I personally love the fact that I didn't leave the house yesterday. And just okay, stay in. If you can, stay in. However, what we do know is there is a vast majority of our country that can't just stay in. And I am talking about the unhoused population. Cities and communities all across this country are opening emergency shelters. If you're someone that's unhoused, you're probably never going to see this video. But if you see someone that is unhoused during these cold snaps, please take a moment, share a little compassion, find out if there's anything you can do. If there's something you are capable of, please do that. Yeah. However, speaking of the unhoused, interesting story I saw this week, Z. Now, we both live in Colorado here, so we've all been super, I'm going to say it, primed. We've been super excited that Coach Prime is coming to CU Boulder. However, yesterday we also learned that CU Boulder, not the college itself, but the city of Boulder's local library had to be closed. And it's closed indefinitely because the unhoused population was using the restrooms to smoke meth. And the air circulation system, the ventilation system, the bathroom ventilation system specifically in that building was found to have excessively high levels of methamphetamines.
Wow.
There's
well, it's and here's the hot. Well, here's an interesting. I was trying to find another word other than interesting, but I just can't get away from it. is that this is a microcosm of what's happening in various ways around the world, between homeless and weather and food insecurities, and we are looking at it in small parts, but it's it's big. We're not looking at the whole thing, and as a global society, we have to begin to really make some strides here, or else we're going to be. We think we have some challenges right now. They're going to just increase.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and when I mentioned this story to my family, my CU Boulder college freshman who's home on break said, yeah, well, you got to remember, we're still in a place where we've turned the drug addict or the unhoused into a criminal rather than looking at as a human, a place where we're supposed to reach out.
Right.
And it real quickly changed from, hey, what a cute, jokey kind of story, to hold on. This is pointing to the problem of the unhoused because they have no safe space.
Right.
If you're unhoused, drugs come along with that. And it's really hard to get off of drugs if you don't have a safe interdiction type of process. And right now there is none of that. So people are forced to use whatever safe space they might find. And a bathroom in a public library becomes a safe space because you're not out in the open, you can't be seen, and less chance of being arrested, less chance of all the problems that come with that. So what this points to, and I agree, is we need in this country, I believe, to take a different perspective on the people that fall into addiction, to the people that fall into, whether by choice or whether by addiction or other problem, and create those safe spaces so that so people can feel safe, because when they feel safe, then they'll open up. Then they might talk to somebody about what the cause behind the effect of using drugs, using hard drugs.
And one of the things that we try to do on this program is to make those aware who aren't aware, and I know most of our audience are in tune. But to let people know, we hear these little isolated things about, drug use and trauma and food insecurities and weather. And we hear 2 or 3 of these stories in 2 or 3 locations. But it's when you think about like COVID now, right? Now, how many of the unhoused are battling? I know it's right here in Colorado, the whole thing between the cold, the flu, COVID, and RSV.
Yeah.
That's causing the hospitals to fill up. Now, I think the numbers are down a little bit, but, people are having all these ailments, and it's been bitterly cold here and across the country. Now, those people have to go into a housing facility where God knows what's being spread. We could have super spreaders after this cold weather come like no tomorrow.
Right. Exactly. And the homeless population report again and again and again, I think the number one complaint I hear all the time is it's not safe in the shelters.
Right.
Because the shelters aren't doing anything but warehousing. And so folks that are experiencing a mental illness, or folks that are just are naturally upset and violent, are in these shelters as well. There's no screening, there's no interdiction, there's no help for anybody. They just become a warehouse, and it becomes dangerous. And and many of the unhoused won't go anywhere near a shelter, no matter how cold it is, because they're afraid of physical attack, of being robbed of what few possessions they have. There needs to be a new way. There needs to be a new vision, I believe. I'm not clear what it is yet, but I'm looking. I think we've got to do something. And these cold snaps, they do it again and again and again. They highlight the the effects. And what I want us to look to is I want us to dig in and look at the beliefs that are the cause.
Yeah.
Do we believe as a country these people are worthless and we can just throw them away? Or do we believe these people have value to bring to the community and we can nurture and embrace that?
Yeah, and one of the other things I think that we really have to begin to look at is the structure of our society, right? I mean, you know, through the George Floyd summer and the pandemic extended situation, you know, a lot of things have been highlighted. But I saw something the other day on, I think it was 60 Minutes, where we're down 39% of the EMTs and 55% of paramedics across the country.
Wow.
And now there is a crisis in, you know, because a lot of people quit those types of jobs when the pandemic rolled around.
Right.
And now they have a shortage, and they said the average pay is like $18 an hour, where right now they're fighting for fast food people to get $22 an hour.
I just saw Domino's up the street offering 18 plus to deliver pizza. To drive pizza around within a radius. If we're only paying there's a whole another one, right, folks? Let's get behind the people that are doing the work. I agree, right? We have to demand more for fast food workers. We have to demand more for workers of every stripe and of every form. And I hadn't heard that one. Paramedics and EMTs. Those are important jobs, folks.
Yes. And in weather like this, that right now, you better believe, because, you know, like almost 3/4 of the country is getting some kind of extreme weather now or the next couple of days. They're going to be extremely busy with car wrecks and people freezing and heart attacks from shoveling snow. I mean, it's going to be needed. Their services are going to be needed, and we're going to be down.
Yeah. It's cold winter is coming in a lot of ways.
Yes.
Speaking of cold winter, it's going to be a damn cold winter for Sam Bankman-Fried. The guy's used to living in the Bahamas. He's been living in the Bahamas in the lap of luxury for a while. He's been doing it on other people's money. And the day has come to pay the piper, as it was. Sorry, I think I just stole your line there, Z. That sounded more like one of your lines. So tell us a little more. What am I talking about here?
Well, Sam Bankman-Fried, the FTX crypto guy and the Alameda Research Company guy. Yep. It's a sad story, and it is when we look at privilege in some ways, this sticks out. Now, here's a young man, a very intelligent young man. I want to start with that before we go down this slope.
Okay.
Guy graduated from MIT in 2014, I think it was, somewhere around there, with a degree in physics and a minor in mathematics.
Mm-hmm.
Both of his parents are lawyers at Stanford School of Law. His brother was a trader on Wall Street. His aunt is the dean of the public health school at Columbia University. So this guy comes from a very intelligent environment and background. But at the age of 30, he was able to get people to donate and have his net worth to be $26 billion at 30 without any product or service that was created. And he was living in the Bahamas in a $16.4 million property with both of his parents' name on the deed. Now, he has taken that money and used it for his own personal gain. He's donated, they said, hundreds of millions of dollars to both political parties. And he's now created a mess to expose more. Both political parties are going to have to answer to this money. They already said they're going to try to give up almost $1 billion back. Individuals who have no understanding of trading, let alone a ethereal currency, have lost lots of money because our society has this get rich quick scheme. And I mean, this story will unfold a whole lot of problems of our society that we need to look at all levels to repair.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, people are saying this is probably a bigger Ponzi scheme than even Bernie Madoff. And Sam was arrested in the Bahamas over the weekend, released on $500,000 bail, and is reportedly living in his parents' basement until the trial. I got a feeling they put up a lot of the money on the bond there. But I think it points to, and you just said it, it points to something bigger. It points to that desire for money, no matter what. And the greed that comes along with it. Now, Sam's in big trouble because his girlfriend / ex-girlfriend and his best friend, who are all up to their eyeballs in this. His ex-girlfriend, Caroline, was actually the president of Alameda, I believe is what they did. They named her. It was it's all tied up in one. But his ex-girlfriend and his best friend have agreed to turn state's evidence. They're going to testify against him. So he's either pleading guilty and going to prison, or he's going to fight it and go to prison. But I think it does point to that. There's so much. He's not your average con man. He's a very intelligent con man, and this isn't a normal bait and switch kind of thing. There's a lot of moving parts, and I'll tell you, see, what it did for me is it forced me down an even deeper rabbit hole of the level of graft within the entire crypto environment. Yep. Now, I'm an old school guy, so I kind of understand some of this stuff. And I didn't get Bitcoin early enough. I kind of wish I'd bought a couple of Bitcoins back in the day. I'd never really gotten into it because to me, it's the difference between, and you shared this earlier, investing and trading. Nobody's investing in companies through crypto. They're trading. They're trying to make a buck. They're trying to flip this coin into that coin, and then back over to this coin. And you give me a little of this, and I'll use this coin to loan you money on that. And the entire system is an open doorway for hucksters, shucksters, and con men. And I found a rabbit hole on the internet via YouTube, learning more and more about more and more different NFT and crypto scams, outright scams, where people are taking hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars from people. If anybody out there ever heard the word Zootopia, look it up. People lost a ton of money on a supposed but pretty much get rich quick in NFT trading that is nothing. There isn't even an NFT. There isn't even a game. There isn't even anything. And they were pouring money into it. And then these influencers say, oh, sorry, didn't work, and walk away.
Well, now, and there goes another thing, just to show how intertwined all this stuff is. So when we look at social media and how people just, I'll just leave that at that. You know what that is. But, one of the things that's going to be next on the horizon, a lot of people are saying, is this: not only the NFTs, but the NILs that a lot of these young athletes are signing now. Because a lot of them don't have good lawyers and contractual people reading these things to figure out what's going on. So they sign them. They're 18. They're getting a ton of money. They don't really know what they're doing. They're 18, right? Yeah. And then when they go and get big, they've signed away their likeness and their name, and so now you get into this whole thing like Prince had to get the symbol and the artist formerly known as, because once you sign that contract and you give those people that right, you're done with that name or that likeness or that image. And so these kids at 18 and 19 are doing this as they're going into these different things now. It's a mess. It's going to, and it's going to be a bigger mess.
Yeah. Yep. Because they're going to take that 18, 19, those 19, 18, 20-year-olds are going to be, quote, influenced by people that are selling them worthless coin and selling them worthless NFTs, and or convincing them to and here's the new one, convincing them to be the face of a project. Because now if you're even remotely famous, you can be the face or the voice or the promoter of a crypto project, but that doesn't mean that anybody's going to make any money. And you might be left holding the bag, losing money and losing your reputation by promoting and standing behind some of these things. It's a tricky business, and there's too many people that don't know what they're doing and think they can get rich real quick. And my eyes have been opened in a way I didn't quite realize within that industry recently.
And there's one thing too, like on the FTX thing, like I think Naomi Osaka, the tennis player, was involved. She was supposed to be a spokesman. LeBron James, I think.
Larry David.
Say again.
Larry David was pushing FTX.
Yes.
Other well-known celebrities, influencers, pushing FTX, but they didn't know. They're part of the scam too, right? Guys like all these guys, they're being paid. One, it's a commercial deal. Hey man, they want to hire you to do this. I did a commercial. I don't know what it was for. I did a commercial. But when you've got an entire stadium named after this FTX stadium, those folks are doing some serious scrambling. How do we get those letters off the wall? And who wants to pay who wants to pay the naming rights for this stadium now? But they probably can't. They probably have a contract. They can't get out of it.
Well, and some people are trying to go after these celebrities and put some kind of liability on them that, hey, I know you didn't run the company, but you made a statement of authenticity, if you will, and legitimacy, and we believed in you, and there is some liability there, whatever it is, I don't know. And how that'll work out in court.
They're saying it's mostly relational. Again, they were paid, they were hired spokespeople, and they're gonna claim as a transaction. I didn't know what was going on. Yeah. Maybe the public will hold them accountable for it. Right? Maybe the public will say, Larry David, we don't trust you quite as much anymore. But again, if you're getting your financial advice from a comedian, if you're getting your financial advice from an athlete, if you're getting your financial advice from a television actor, I don't know that that's where I would go for financial advice.
Right. Yeah. Before I do that, I want to know you have a master's in something other than fine arts.
Yeah, and I want to see your crypto wallet. I want to see how much you put into FTX. I want to see how much you're taking out of FTX. Because, right, for folks, if you don't understand, that is the promise and what is purported as the beauty of the blockchain is you can go back and look at these transactions and see exactly when and where certain transactions went and for how much. Part of this rabbit hole I'm exploring on YouTube, the guy's channel. It's called CoffeeZilla, by the way, if anybody's interested. He does a great job of going back and saying, okay, let's go look at the ledger. And he pulls up the blockchain and he does the research to find the transactions to say, okay, right here is where SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, transferred this money from a holding wallet for FTX into his own personal wallet, and then transferred that from his own personal wallet to Alameda Int Funds, Alameda Research Funds. And you can trace back and connect the dots purportedly so much easier. So the evidence is there. It's in the blockchain. The records are there. You cannot, as far as I know, you still cannot change a blockchain record. So the proof is there. The evidence is there. Now we just got to go, somebody's got to go uncover it. That's always been the promise. So yeah, if a celebrity comes and says, you should put your money here, you should trade here, you should use this. Okay, well, open up your records and let's see where you did that. Let's see exactly if you're walking your talk, or if you're just feeding us a line of bullshit.
And what this leads to now, you know, when as we look at the spiritual lessons that we learn from this, right? The spiritual lessons is, first and foremost, that's always needed, right? Do your own work, right? You got to do your own work. You can't rely, you know, on a person, even if you trust them. Now that, you know, you still need, you know, they say trust but verify.
Right.
Trust but verify.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to do that first. And then secondly, we have to begin to look at, I believe, how do we leave this place better when we go? Because we all going, right? So when we leave here, what did I do to leave the place in a better situation? And if I'm taking advantage of people and taking money and using people just to have more material things, that when I go, they're not going with me, and pretty soon they're gonna all break down anyway, then if I'm doing that at the expense of others, then I need to check myself.
Yep. This is what I call the Nobel effect. Some of you folks may remember the story. The inventor of the Nobel Peace Prize and other Nobel Prizes woke up one morning to find his obituary on the front page of the paper. Now, it wasn't he that died. It was actually his brother who died, but the reporter mixed up the names. And the obituary was not very forthcoming, because his brother was in the dynamite industry. And it made him sound, and, you know, mass murderer and killer of this and da-da-da-da-da. And the man said, okay, wait a minute, we got to change stuff. And because I don't want that to be my legacy. I don't want that to be my obituary. I want an obituary that shares how much we did for humanity, and changed his entire business model, sold off all the gunpowder factories and the dynamite factories, and started dedicating his money and his life towards the Nobel Peace Prize and towards peace on earth. We can all do that. Sam Bankman-Fried can turn around tomorrow, can stand up in court and admit his wrongdoings, pay his penalties, do his time, and still be a beneficial presence on the planet. Yep. I agree, Z. It's all about us. How do we find a way to give more than we take at the end of the day?
Yeah. It's you know, I know, you know, you and I talk about this. I look at my bookshelves, and not only my bookshelf, my floor space where I have books piled up. And some of them I've gone back and read a couple of times. Some of them I've never read. I've only read a chapter or read, you know, excerpts to use for this or that. But right now, somebody else could be using those books. And that's one of my goals in the new year, is to go through and whittle down some of this stuff that I have. Like, you know, I'm a big music fan and love jazz, and I got CDs still out the wazoo that I don't even play anymore because I get no dang on CD player. And, you know, And who knows, like vinyl, it may come back around, but I might not be here to be, to use that thing. So, we really, I believe it's time for everybody on the planet to really say, what is essential? Like, here's the thing. My kids for this Christmas said they didn't want a lot of gifts, right? They got a couple of things. They gave a list of things to check from in terms of something to put under the tree. But they both gave places to donate money in their name to charities. And they said they want more experiences than gifts. So we're going to go to I better not say it. We're going to do some things because they might be watching. We're going to do some things for experience where the family spends time together, which is going to last a whole lot longer than the one or two shirts or blouses or whatever that won't.
Right. Yeah. Or electronic toys. Yeah, exactly.
Electronic toys.
Well, folks, if you wonder what you stumbled into, this happens every Friday morning at 7 a.m. It's Ministers Talking Shit. We're going to run a minute or two over, as we've been known to do, because we like talking, we like hanging out. Rev Z and I have been doing this for, well over a decade or more now. And when we decided to make this into a regular show, it was a natural fit. We're really glad you joined us. We do invite you, please like, share, and subscribe. Let your friends know what's going on, not only with our program, but with all the programming here on New Thought Media Network. We've got a full day of everything, and I've lost my schedule again. However, we do know that Practicing Infinite Possibilities with Lindsay Linebach's coming up at 10 a.m. this morning after our regular morning programming. The good news will be back at 5, although I'm off tonight, and it's Rev Barbara, and she'll be doing the good news for us tonight. Pastor Michael has the fireside chat at 6 tonight as well. So, Z, before we get out of here, final thoughts for the day.
Yeah, I for me, and it's ringing true, find a cause, find something that you can put some time, talent, treasure, i.e. some finances to, and let's really try to make a change for 2023.
Yeah. Amen. I'm going to say follow your heart.
Yeah.
And that's not just follow your heart to the buffet table. That's not just follow your heart to giving your family a hug on Sunday morning. That's not just following your heart to have a good time, but follow your heart to be a good human. Now more than ever, whether it's the cold, whether it's the holiday, be a good human. That should be enough. Yeah. All right, folks, we're out of here. We're going to say thank you to our sponsors and our contributors real quick. And please stick around and celebrate them and give them the love and attention that they deserve. We'll be back again next Friday with a let's call it a New Year edition of Ministers Talking Shit. We'll be back with that again next week as well. Where is this video? I keep losing this one video. And I know it's here somewhere. Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to go with this one then. We'll see you next week, folks. Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings.
Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, for your continued support. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown Atlanta, for your monthly contribution. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, for your monthly contribution. And please help us welcome Om Center for Spiritual Living in La Mesa, California. Thank you for your monthly donation. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, for your most generous donation. And a special thanks to Hefferlin Foundation for your generous technology grant. And Suze Ajit, thank you for your very generous donation. And a super special thank you to Dr. Tracy Brown, RSCP. Thanks for being a super donor. And a big shout out To all our committed donors,